For some reason, when it comes to fictional properties and IP, I seem to be cursed to like things that nobody wants to make. I don't really get why that is. I mean, I've floated the idea that maybe I just have bad taste, but a lot of those things are very popular brands and intellectual properties and games and stuff that just the companies who made them go a different way on and just don't care about anymore. We saw that for a long time with Spyro and Crash Bandicoot, and Silent Hill is the same way. Now, I do want to say first off, this is not super new news. The first footage of this was shown, I believe, 6 months ago, at least, and this is a fan-made remake. Now, with one more TLDR, I will say, at the risk of sounding hypocritical, I have said several times before, I often don't like when games journalist sites and stuff like that latch on and show these things to everyone when they're in the middle of their production. However, here's the thing with this one. Silent Hill has been dead for years. They already did that. They already showed it to everybody. This video has 175,000 views, and the reason I waited to talk about it was I was kind of hoping it would fly under the radar, but it's been picked up by every major news journalism site when they were coming up from air between Amber Heard's legs and slandering Johnny Depp. So we might as well talk about it, because this video that was released by Codeless Games, this shows how much fans care about Silent Hill and how much fans care about video games in general. This is something I've always said before too. It is crazy to me the amount of love and care and shine that a small community of fans can put into a fan project, whether it be a fan film, whether it be a fan game, fan art, etc., when they're not the rights holders, right? I mean, it's just incredible to me how they don't care about the risk, the financial risk. It's just, I love this thing, I'm going to make it, and they do a good job. Now, with this Silent Hill remake in Unreal Engine 5, I do have a couple of things to say, positive and negative, about the whole thing, and we're going to kind of talk about the situation a little bit. So if you enjoy this, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe for more content. I do cover Silent Hill. I don't cover it all the time. Since it's been dead for years, whenever I upload about it, nobody watches it. But I'm hoping that with the brand possibly being on the horizon for a revival, it's something we can talk about more, that, the community can get into, because this series is one of my favorite video game series of all time. It has so much heart, so much care, so many hidden things within it in terms of lore and lessons and deeper storytelling and symbolism. That's one of the things I think I like about it the most, is that Silent Hill, it really does come across like a piece of literature. A lot of video game stories, people mock and people say oh, well, it's like a B movie. Silent Hill, it just moves past that. It really does. It climbs out of that hole, and almost like Dark Souls in a way, it leaves so much open to your imagination and your interpretation and letting you kind of figure it out. I love that. And this Midwich Elementary section of the original Silent Hill, where the character is playing as Harry, is really cool to see. They do show a tiny bit of the outdoor section as well around Midwich, but essentially we are mostly just in the school during this, and right down to the original classic enemies that you fought in the game, everything's pretty much the same. It's just more. Now, one thing that I do have to say about this whole thing is, if you are a fan of Silent Hill, and I've seen a ton of people bring this up in the comments, the only criticism I have of this at all, which feels douchey giving criticisms to fan things, but they do ask for it as well. They have a Discord, they want people to give them feedback, etc. I kind of agree with some of the other comments that my one criticism is that parts of this school are a little too bright. In the original Silent Hill especially, I would say 1 and 2 quite a bit. A lot of the main light source is from the flashlight. Now, that doesn't mean there's no light anywhere, especially in cutscenes and other stuff, but a lot of the time you want to kind of conceal this area. Almost the mystery in Silent Hill 1 is scarier than the rest of it, like the other world and all this other stuff. A lot of Silent Hill 1 is mainly just the fog world and mainly just walking around town and stuff like that. It doesn't mean there's none of that other stuff, but it's just kind of a little more mysterious and dark. When you start getting into Silent Hill 2 and 3, obviously there's even much more mythology, and you start getting into some more brightly lit areas as well. But this first game is very, very much flashlight dependent. And so if they continue, working on this, and Konami doesn't rain the fires of God down upon them for daring to enjoy their property that they don't want to make, that is something that I would personally change. But other than that, to me so far, this looks like it's made by just a legitimate video game studio. And I'm not trying to be mean to indie game creators or anything like that. I mean, if Konami floated this as a Silent Hill remake, and they showed it at E3 or, I don't know, Summer Game Fest or whatever, if they kind of floated this out there and showed it, or the Video Game Awards, and they were like, this is alpha footage, we're in early development, we are working on a remake of PS1's Silent Hill 1, I would believe it. I would believe that this is from Konami, with the amount of time and care and effort put into it. And even things like the static camera angles in a lot of rooms that you go in, like you see in the bathroom and some other places. This is the kind of stuff that really makes this come alive. And it's incredible to me how much fans care. Even after all these years, after all these decades about Silent Hill, fans still care. And it's not just this. We have seen a modern renaissance of fan games lately. I mean, just off the top of my head, in the last handful of years, okay, so it's not just right now, but Pokemon Uranium, a massive, huge, huge expansive world, all these new characters and designs and mechanics and all this stuff. It was like a revival of GBA Pokemon, but from someone else, not from Nintendo. And of course they got butthurt about it. Then you have this game right here that we're looking at. There has been footage released of some stuff with Metal Gear that fans are working on. Another one I can think of, I know it's a mod technically, but Fallout London. It's pretty much just its own game, just with the baseline engine and mechanics and gameplay of Fallout. It's crazy to me because I know I've repeated myself a few times here, but you really have to let it sink in. Look at how much work these people put into this. Look at how much work fans put into this. Or the dude who even remade Simpsons Hit and Run, who was working on a remake of that as well. And just the companies that own these things, they just leave them to rot. They don't care. It's so disheartening to me to see all of this love that goes into these things, and then on the other end of it, to just see it treated only as a business. Now, that doesn't mean you can't make money off your products or your properties. Of course you can. But this really highlights a problem I have with modern gaming. And it's that everything is about money. Everything is about the success of the product and how we can milk it and where we can take it from here. It's almost never about, is the game good? Is the game done? Was it complete when we shipped it? Okay, well, maybe we want to add into it, but is the content we're adding valuable, or are we just, adding loot boxes to try and get basically child gambling going? That's genuinely what I think a lot of games try and do now. And it sucks, man. It really sucks. I really do hope that this makes it all the way to being released. I don't know if it will, and I don't think that me covering it with a couple thousand views compared to the 175,000 it got, plus every shill main games journalism website out there taking a break from the Depp case, like I said, to cover it, because they really have been going hard on that for the last month or two. I don't think me covering it will affect that. However, I am also in a position where, no hate to Codeless, I do almost wish sometimes that these things just got stealth released. Like, again, I know I'm talking about it. I'm not trying to be a hypocrite about that. I totally understand if that's a point that someone brings up. But when these things get stealth released, where it's just like, hey, by the way, it's done and it's out, then the files are out there. There's nothing anyone can do about it. You know what I mean? Like Konami can't go around. They can't track down every computer that downloaded it and destroy them and strip them for parts or whatever. It's just, when you announce these things ahead of time, I worry a little bit. I worry about the cease and desists and the shutdowns and the type of stuff that Uranium got. But luckily Uranium had already released. Or another Metroid 2 remake, which had already released. You know, I kind of wish that there was no announcement, no, I don't know what you'd say, no attention drawn to any of this, and that it would just kind of, boom, come out. But even if this never does come out, this video alone, it goes to show you the care that people, like, feel for this franchise, the care that people feel for video games that they connect with, and that these companies should really put more of that care into it. To a lot of us, this stuff is not just a game. And I know, oh, cringe, but it's not. It's not just a game. It's not just a throwaway experience that's good for a year, and then when it's outdated, it's gone. People go back to Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3, even 4. People go back to the old Final Fantasy games. People go back, to Chrono Trigger and all these other games. They go back, and it's because there's something there that people care about. And I would love it if we could live in a world where you saw that same care coming from the people who own these things and just really, in my opinion, hold on to it just so no one else can use it. It's sad, it's ridiculous, it's almost like copyright trolling, but with your own property. And it's boring. It makes gaming less interesting, less fun, and gamers more cynical. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you are interested in this remake, Codeless Games, they do have their own YouTube channel. They also have a Discord, all kinds of other stuff. Like I said, I hope this makes it to fruition. I don't know if it will, but either way, I think these people have definitely proven themselves and shown what they are capable of, and it's incredible. I mean, they all deserve to have high-level jobs in game development. Genuinely, they really do. So, have a fantastic day. Please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. And as always, everyone, stay shway.